I hear the cheers, the sighs of relief, and the accompanying calm. I also hear the uproar, the groans, and the angst, and the chaos. The United Methodist Church just voted to make a big change in their doctrine, and some of my friends are not certain how to adapt. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos, where we believe that calm can and must be practiced and sustained in our lives so that decisions can be made from a place of love, not fear. Scientists tell us that the only constant in many instances is change. Change can be difficult for some of us, those of us who have lived in the illusion of actually controlling the events of our lives. When change happens without our consent, it can be difficult to accept and adapt, but we must. Dan Buettner, who has studied the 5 zones in the world where people regularly live beyond 100, has found that their diets can be varied, although mostly plant-based. He also found that most of the centenarians attended a weekly spiritual gathering. Most of the people lived daily lives of activity. There were few sitting at a desk all day people among them. But he found that one overriding characteristic among all the people was the ability to adapt when their situations changed. Now, when I gently observe my elders, and thanks to a terrific gene pool, there are plenty of them, I see the same adapting attitude in those who have made it into their 90s. It's not only the old when life hands you lemons, make lemonade adage at work. It's more than that. It's the ability and the desire to learn new things and the ability to add a lot of sweetness to those lemons. Sweetness in the form of being kind and controlling anger, and not taking life too seriously to begin with. This week, there has been a huge shift for many of my friends in the United Methodist tradition, a shift that will cause some people to adapt, but it will cause some people to reel in chaos and cause some people to flee. As people who accept change and make decisions from love, we must adapt and make course corrections when necessary. The General Conference of the United Methodist Church just voted to drop their language that said being homosexual was incompatible with Christian teaching. This historic change includes a new definition of marriage as being a lifelong covenant between two people of faith, rather than only between a biological man and woman. The conference also repealed its ban on LGBTQ clergy. God is always at work building the kingdom, waiting for us to get it right. And some people will not adapt. They will flee. They will emotionally and physically leave the United Methodist Church because even though the conference leaders have determined being gay is not incompatible with Christian teaching, the teachings that still make sense to some people, the teachings of those biblical passages that have been used to exclude, judge, and harm people who are gay, transgender, and bisexual, will be very hard to overcome and unlearn. Now, I've said many times that I believe the decisions we make in our lives are based either in love or in fear. Hate, to me, is a manifestation of fear. Something underneath hate makes the person afraid. Maybe they're afraid that they'll have to deal with some part of themselves that's a shadow, a part that they have suppressed. Maybe hatred springs from fear of losing one's perceived place in the tribe, the community, or the culture. In other words, a person may have to continue to believe or seem to believe that they hate everything about the LGBTQ community because their friends and family believe that, and they cannot afford the risk of being ostracized. From a few friends of mine, people who have been afforded the luxury of being easily accepted in the world because they are white, heterosexual, and at least middle class, I hear, why do the gay people have to throw it in our faces? Why do they need parades and flags and banners? And my answer is that we as a culture need pride parades, Black History Month, Women's History Month, because the world has been run by straight white men. And that system needs to be cracked open. And we must adapt. Like my elders in the 90s, the elder who, although raised in a very strict Christian home where card playing and dancing were not allowed, has learned a new way, guided by love, not fear. She has dried tears and held hands of family members as they navigated dating and marrying quite a variety of people. She has chosen to let love guide her to accept and to continue to cherish family members who are in the LGBTQ community. And we can learn from this elder. Those passages in the Bible, the ones that are called the clobber passages, because Christians often use them to ostracize those who attend the Pride events, may not mean what we've been taught. Remembering that we are looking at Scripture through the lenses of many interpretations, and remembering that we are always seeking the truth that lies beneath the language, I offer this. If you're learning to be an ally of the LGBTQ community, and someone, for instance, refers to Genesis 1:27, where we quote, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them." And somebody says, look, there's no room for transgender people or anybody else that's different from male and female. Remember that the creation story is written as a very binary, simplistic way of viewing the world. Sky and earth were separated. Water and land. Male and female. It was easy to do it that way. A lot of black and white, cut and dried dualities. But all the people who do not easily fit the male or female model are often shunned and criticized, but the Bible does not include them in the language. Here's the deal. Neither does the Bible include marshes and swamps, places that are questionably not land or water. There are a lot of non-dualities that we need to investigate and open our hearts to love and understanding. The swamps, the creation story forgot, the transgender people, the bisexual people. These are examples of the vast and wonderful creation that includes so many variations of life that scientists are still discovering new species at the bottom of the ocean. So let's ease up on the clobber passages that we can leave them alone until we study deeply the cultural context in which they were written. Let's adapt. Let's let love lead the way and leave the old ways behind us and learn new ways of thinking, being, and knowing. Adapting can contribute to a personal sense of calm. The divine energy that flows through you and through me is yearning for growth. The divine spark that burns within each one of us wants to connect, to be closer to one another, not divided from one another. We humans have broken into many fragmented camps, each believing they're right. It's time to stop being right and start making our choices from a place of love. Love will always adapt. Love will create a way for us to support one another, to build community, to remain balanced in our lives, and to feel the depth of the love that has been placed within us. Blessings on all.